Hi, I'm Rochelle Travers, and this is the Standard's Tech and Science Daily. Coming up, SpaceX loses the biggest rocket ever made. Now, let's get into it.
This legislation, if signed into law, will lead to a ban of TikTok in the United States. Even the bill's sponsors admit that that's their goal.
That's TikTok Chief Executive Shou Chew, speaking in a video posted to the platform calling on US users to help stop the app from being banned in America.
This bill gives more power to a handful of other social media companies. It will also take billions of dollars out of the pockets of creators and small businesses. It will put more than 300,000 American jobs at risk, and it will take away your TikTok.
Users in the States have been campaigning to stop the bill since it was announced, but on Wednesday, members of the House of Representatives voted overwhelmingly for it to be passed. It now goes to the Senate. If successful, it would then give TikTok's Chinese-owned parent company ByteDance 6 months to divest from the firm or face a ban on the app. US lawmakers have expressed concern over TikTok, saying the data of Americans potentially in Chinese hands makes it a national security risk. TikTok's owners have rejected those accusations, and Beijing has vowed to take necessary measures to protect its interests. President Joe Biden has said he would support the ban if it passes Congress. Now, the sound of onlookers watching the biggest and most powerful rocket ever made, SpaceX's Starship, take off. Unfortunately, the rocket has now been lost though, after it fell to Earth and presumably into the Indian Ocean. But it was otherwise a successful test. It was the third test of Starship following the 2 previous versions that lasted a few minutes before blowing up. This time around, Starship managed to separate from its booster, arrive in space, open up the payload door that could one day carry important experiments, and fly halfway around the Earth, achieving all the major tests planned by SpaceX. If you fancy a cheeky Mackies today, well, it might not be that straightforward. McDonald has reportedly been hit by a huge global outage, leaving people unable to order. Social media users have complained of issues in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Germany and Austria. In Japan, the fast food chain confirmed there was a system failure and asked customers to wait for a while for service to be restored. At the time of recording this podcast, McDonald's has so far not commented on how far widespread the issues are, or if the reported problems have been resolved. We're not loving it. The new Nothing Phone 2A has broken its record and sold over 100,000 units just hours after it went on sale. The device from London-based designer Nothing retails at £319 and was launched earlier this week as a cheaper alternative to the higher-spec Nothing Phone 2. The company hopes its new model can lure customers away from dominant industry players like Apple or Samsung in search of lower prices. The 2A boasts Nothing's trademark see-through design with a 6.7-inch OLED screen and dual 50-megapixel rear cameras. Battery life is considerable, with as much as 52 hours life between charges, with Nothing claiming the battery maintains at least 90% of its original capacity for at least 1,000 full charge cycles. Scientists have discovered a giant volcano spanning 280 miles on Mars. A study from the SETI Institute and the Mars Institute, based at NASA Ames Research Center, shows the volcano was found alongside a possible sheet of buried glacier ice in the eastern part of Mars' Tharsis volcanic province, near the planet's equator. The researchers say the volcano has been seen repeatedly by NASA's orbiting spacecraft since 1971, but was deeply eroded and beyond easy recognition. The study suggests that its size and complex modification history indicate that it's been active for a very long time. Let's go to the ads. Coming up, is the Silent Hill 2 remake coming out in May? To stay up to date with all the latest tech and science news, just hit follow during the break. Welcome back. An Ofcom study has revealed that children first see violent online content while still at primary school, and describe it as inevitable and unavoidable. The regulator said the 247 children it spoke to during a research workshop commonly encountered violent 18+ gaming content, verbal discrimination and fighting, All of the children reported seeing violent content online, mostly via social media and messaging sites and apps, with many saying this had happened before they'd reached the platform's minimum age restrictions. Ofcom wants the research to send a powerful message to tech firms to do more so they're ready to meet their child protection duties under new online safety laws. The National Audit Office says Whitehall lacks the skills to implement artificial intelligence. In a report on the government's use of AI, the NAO found that while 70% of Whitehall departments were exploring opportunities to use the new technology, a lack of skills remained a significant barrier. The watchdog said the tech could save the taxpayer billions and transform public services, but the government lacks a coherent plan to adopt it in the public sector. And finally,
could she really be here? Waiting for me? Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago.
Is the Silent Hill 2 remake coming out in May? Well, maybe. There's been a few possible clues that it's likely to be imminent either way. Last week, the game turned up on the South Korean age rating website, which generally indicates a game is due to be released soon. Now, a Mexican retailer listed the Silent Hill 2 remake for the 30th of May. But don't get too excited, as the listing could just be a placeholder, and the date now appears to have been removed. Some retailers can make mistakes with their listings from time to time, but the age rating listing alone seems to be a clear indication that it's on the way soon. If you're up to date, come back at 4 p.m. for the Standard podcast for all the latest news and analysis. Tech and Science Daily will be back on Monday at 1 p.m. See you then.